at the end of the day, even if you are going through job transition, or we have tariffs, or whoever our political leader is, like whatever the situation is, you're still actually going to, as a woman, be facing those challenges. So you need products that meet you where you are. So I think that's been the pivot, is like, where are we seeing our product meeting the needs for our customers, and how can we lean into that in a better way?
This is You Should Talk To, a podcast for busy marketing leaders who are looking for support and tips on getting shit done. In each episode, Daniel Weiner interviews marketing leaders and discusses their experience, successes, and failures around hiring agencies. If you're interested in finding and choosing the right agency partner, then let's jump in.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the You Should Talk To podcast. I am your host, Daniel Weiner. You Should Talk To pairs brands and marketers for free with vetted agencies and or freelancers for marketing and tech needs, because finding great agencies is an enormous pain in the ass. Few know that better than our current guest, Hillary Settle, who is currently VP of Digital at Hanky Panky, but comes from the agency side. So Hillary, thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm also laughing at your jeans in the background.
I just noticed that. I told you before that the podcast is real. You know, I changed into shorts because I sit by my window here and it's like 1,000 degrees while I do this. So
I love it.
Yeah, I am wearing pants. You know, I can say that. I promise. Or nobody knows. That's the allure of the podcast.
Nobody knows. That's the work from home.
I should honestly, if I had a bigger viewership, maybe I would have put on some Hanky Panky. We get some bigger viewers. But for those who do not know, what is Hanky Panky?
Yeah, great. So Hanky Panky is a legacy brand. We've been around, actually coming up on 47 years, if you can believe it. We are a premium lingerie brand. We are really specialized in premium lace. We've been known for having the most comfortable thong in the world. So I can definitely send you some. You can test it out.
I appreciate it. Always looking for better thongs,
Yes. And we've expanded, our offering in the lingerie sector. So we launched bras last year. We have sleepwear. We really span, supporting women at all stages of life. And that really means product offering that caters to her needs. So excited to be part of the brand. I just passed a year here, and it's been fun to see, it grow.
That's crazy. You were agency side before that. You transitioned to brand side. What's been hard? What's been easy? I presume I usually ask if you think your agency experience makes you a better marketer on the brand side. I always just kind of presume it does, because I think agency gives you so much experience. But I'm curious. What's been the biggest learning curve and what's been easier?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've worked both agency and brand like a few different times throughout my career. My last stint was 5 years, so probably the longest on the agency side. And I think, agency forces you to pivot fast, think on your feet, really work collaboratively with different teams, hear the needs of your client, and be thoughtful about, the decisions that you're making. And I think sometimes internally on the brand side, you're just so involved on a day-to-day basis with the brand needs and knowing your team deeply that sometimes taking a step back is hard to do. So I think coming from agency and coming into brand, I'm able to do that more often, working better cross-functionally than I think I ever have before, just with that experience. And I think there's a grittiness that's in agency, like the pace and the...
I was going to say, is it slower or faster on the brand side for you at the moment?
That's hard to say, because D2C is just fast-paced anyways. And so I'd say it's comparable, to be honest, but I would say it's different. It's less, there's always, a lot of action items, but you have more of like a clear view into the vision internally, versus you're just sort of a piece of the puzzle sometimes on the agency side. So you have more of a project-based view. Not for all agencies, but
sure. Yeah, I'm curious. I know it's something on the minds of many folks in the industry at the moment, without getting too granular into how it's directly affecting you all. The tariff situation. Can you speak kind of broadly on how that's affecting, or you're thinking through marketing at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, being in retail, it's definitely something that has been top of mind for us. It's been top of mind for our partners, for our merchants. And so, being part of a legacy brand that makes most of their products predominantly in the US, I feel like this is an opportunity for us in many ways to kind of communicate to our customers that we are really going to be like holding strong, with our pricing and really making sure that they are still getting that like high quality value at the price point that they've been paying for, and not as impacted, I think, from the tariff conversations. But it's an interesting landscape right now, and I don't think anybody really has like the answers to it, but communicating with our customers and really hearing what they need has been probably like the biggest I don't know, strategy, if you will, at least on the marketing side.
Sure. Yeah, I think tariffs are, one piece of the puzzle in 2025, but there's been a lot of stuff. The job market's a little bit weird and wonky. AI is awesome and cool and maybe taking everybody in the world's jobs, including ours. Who knows? What's your best piece of advice to other, marketing leaders across the board on how to, I would say, thrive, but also just survive in 2025, and how to think through, how to come out on the other side of whatever climate we're in a better place?
Yeah, it's a big question.
I'll take it on my side since nobody asked, but it's easier for me to say. I just find the brands who are able to, and it's easier when it's not my own money, especially.
Yeah.
The brands who spend through the tough times are the ones who generally come out better. Like they've didn't slow down a ton. They've pivoted maybe, but they didn't stop doing stuff, versus companies who are unfortunately laying people off and cutting spends is, again, easier for me to say when it's not mine. But yeah, I don't know what they expect. It's like starting over almost on the other side.
Right. I would agree with that. I think a few things have impacted us just this year. Like I would say we have quite a large customer base that's in LA. And so in the beginning of the years when the fires were happening, we did actually have a lot of customers reaching out to us about that they've lost everything, including like all of their intimate apparel, which you would think, right? Like thinking about it logically, like every single day you are wearing, your undergarments, and you need that, including clothing, but it's really important. So we actually had a partner out in LA that we worked with, that we donated a ton of product to. We worked really closely with our customers that needed our support, either sending them product or coupon codes or ways that we were partnering with them. So I think there's this is sort of leading into a bigger answer to your question. But I think in those moments, figuring out who you want to be as a brand and how you're showing up for your customers, I think is something that's really important. And just, even though that they are in a place, and probably still are in a place of a lot of loss, on the other side, they're going to remember us as a brand that helped them out in the hard times. And so I think, moving into marketing for the rest of the year, one thing that we recently launched was our leak-proof panty. And our leak-proof panty is not just for, I know a lot of brands are just launching period panties. And for us, because our customer base spans many different life stages, from those sort of, early days all the way to post-menopause, and they need leak-proof underwear based on, their challenges in life, we've seen incredible success with pairing a solution product with our high quality lace. And I mean, to the point where we're selling out. Like I'm constantly asking our teams, like, we need more products because we're selling out of it, which is a great problem to have,
Sure.
especially in this time. But I think to your point, we didn't slow down because we still have been listening to her, not just today, right? These are my challenges today, but what have been the challenges over a lifetime that at the end of the day, even if you are going through job transition, or we have tariffs, or we, whoever our political leader is, like whatever the situation is, you're still actually going to, as a woman, be facing those challenges. So you need products that meet you where you are. So I think that's been the pivot, is like, where are we seeing our product meeting the needs for our customers, and how can we lean into that in a better way? And part two of that is then, what channels are we showing up on? So I mean, I would say any D2C marketing leader right now is very frustrated with sort of the meta paid media space, the Google, paid media space,
It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. We're not seeing the same results that we did before. You're putting so much money in to these channels because at least some form of like how they're going to perform versus, hey, let's, TikTok shop and how are you entering in these new channel spaces? Now ChatGPT is about to, have a partnership with Shopify. What does that look like? How are you going to incorporate AI? And I'm really being asked, like, how are you going to be measuring these new channels? And it's hard to say this is what the success is going to look like because everybody's entering into it in sort of it's just all a new space. So I think that's probably been one of the biggest challenges for me. Future state is saying, how am I going to be diversifying my channels? Where, how, what is the financial risk or, that we're looking to take to invest in those? And then the other side of that is how are we using AI? And I think it's a shame because a lot of leaders are like, use AI to make your job more efficient. Like, how frustrating is that, right? Like, what does that actually mean? Okay, I'm using ChatGPT for, a brief. Like, no, you have to figure out, like, what is AI going to do to like support what you're doing right now? So for me, like just using that as an example, like ChatGPT is now being used as a search engine. So if that user behavior is happening and I know that our brand is showing up there, how is it showing up there? So looking first to see how it's showing up there, and then how are ways that we can make sure that it's showing up with the right content that we want to be putting out there, part one. And two, we know it's going to end up being a shopping and probably a paid media channel eventually. Let's be real. ChatGPT is going to monetize it. Okay, what does that look like? How do we get in the forefront of like the conversations that Shopify is having with ChatGPT? And how can we make sure that we're like ready for that?
Yeah, it's exhausting. There's too much stuff.
Too much.
I agree. I'm actually curious with that, not just AI, but in general, the conversation I have a ton is around brand versus performance, which I think for a long time people separated and now they are starting to think more in line, but they should work together. But I'm curious, like you're in every space I would say is crowded in 2025, but women presumably have a ton of different options,
Right.
in your space. How do you think through standing out, in the sea of sameness in terms of marketing and not getting lumped in with other brands and stuff, as it pertains to brand versus performance of, everybody has a boss, you have to report on performance metrics, but you also want to, show up well in awareness and all of those sort of things. How do you think through that? Or is that why we all drink?
Yeah, right. A little bit of both. I would say, of course, both matter, and both matter more now than ever with the performance channels getting more expensive for D2C brands. I think, in the past, especially for brands that had a really strong brick and mortar retail business, they were being introduced to customers on the ground floor, literally the floor of a Nordstrom, the floor of a Bloomingdale's. Hey, you're going to be buying this dress. Why don't you pair it with this panty? And that is changing. The landscape is changing. We know that to be true. Even with Sephora, putting out down double digits in revenue due to, TikTok shop becoming like the beauty purchase channel for social commerce. So when we think about brand and we think about where historically people were meeting the brand and how now we're going to have to rethink that for Hanky Panky specifically, we still have a great partnership in those department stores and we still have those reps on the ground floor that are introducing the brand. What else? How else are people meeting the brands? And that really is in the influencer space. I mean, I know influencer marketing has been a heavy conversation, but people are following people. People are following their lives and their stories and who they are, and they want to hear what they're buying and why. And so that's really been something where they're going to be our voice for the brand, and building relationships with specific influencers, building relationships with those different communities, I think has been something where that is the new brand building in many ways, is aligning yourself with the right industry professionals and content creators that also care about the brand. Many times we've actually had content creators reach out to us and like, I've been wearing Hanky Panky for like literally 20 years. It's one of my favorite brands. So we have a great opportunity where people are reaching out to us to work with us, which is a really beautiful thing. But I think pairing that with reviews right now from a brand perspective, you've got to have other people telling the story. It's that word of mouth. It's coming back, right? In terms of the tried and true marketing.
Yeah, I don't know another thing in marketing other than influencer that affords you the opportunity at virality. Every brand says, "Oh, we want to go viral," and they want to do it with organic content. It's crazy the stuff that happens if you get your product in the hands of the right, even micro influencer. Everything I know and discover is from TikTok. It's replaced watching TV. I mean, I doom scroll at night,
You're right.
but that's where I discover everything that I know.
And learning new things, the things I've learned.
100%. Yeah. You guys also have a great name. I mean, truthfully, I think that's half the battle. It's such a fun name to say, and just, it elicits some sort of happiness, and, just saying Hanky Panky. So.
Yeah, it is a fun brand. It's a fun brand to work for. I mean, we're known for color and personality and really, that feminine premium product, and we haven't like detoured from that. Like I think other brands potentially have for whatever reason they've needed to, but I think that's when we talk about relevancy and being like differentiation in the market from a product perspective. We really know what our customer needs and wants, and we're showing up for. I mean, the leak proof is a great example of that. Offering our tried and true product with a solution, and it's been amazing.
Love it. What's an unpopular opinion you have in the marketing world? Your hot take.
I'd say I go back to AI. I think generalizing AI is going to, replace your job, or AI is going to make your job so much easier, or use AI for everything. I think these there's a lot of that in the market, and I find it actually very annoying because
I agree.
Because then it's not actionable and nobody knows what to do with it. And then everybody's just, putting out LinkedIn posts that are general because they came from, ChatGPT, and then it's this like cycle, right, of nobody really knowing how to use it.
I agree.
Or to use it.
Everybody says I keep saying, agencies are going to go away, and I could eat my words in the future, and I'm sure, things will change quickly, but I don't know. I don't, I just see, there's so many. I haven't seen anything yet that has like given me this, oh my God. It seems like a lot of stuff that, creates efficiencies and
right.
Gets you to the point. But I was recently helping a brand with a website, and the COO came in towards the end and was like, can't we just use AI? And my answer was, if you try, sure. If you can do it, like I tried doing it with my own website through some tool I found, and it was 12% there, structurally, like it knew kind of what I did, but I don't know. I'm sure there's a million tools I have not tried or that I don't know about, but I haven't seen the great like exodus yet.
Well, it's because AI is pulling the information that it has, right? Like that's it. So it's pulling the information that have been inputs from other humans, and so it's limited in that way, right? So you have to have human direction, and you have to have thought and critical thinking around it to actually make sure that it resonates. Because, to your point, like, great, it can help you come up with like questions for, an interview, or, helping you, with modifying your resume, but it doesn't know the information all about you. All the successes you've had. So I think it can build a framework. I think the biggest opportunity for it, in my opinion, right now, is that it's going to be the new search engine. So from a marketing perspective, you've got to be considering all of these channels. I mean, you already see what's Google's Gemini. How much I even use it. It's great. Like when I'm searching things and the information it's pulling in. Okay, what are all of the different AI search engines that are going to be popping up that people are going to be using, and making sure that you're optimizing your site, your channels, all your everything to show up there.
one more thing to worry about. You had mentioned my favorite network, which I have a love-hate relationship with earlier, LinkedIn. I was particularly interested in your opinion of what I'm about to ask because you come from a new business and growth side at an agency. I find when you have the title VP of Marketing, Director as well, but VP and above, everybody I know is getting hit up on LinkedIn every 12 seconds. Every agency thinks you're just sitting at your desk with a pile of cash, just, doling out money to vendors and stuff like that.
Right.
Is that the case for you? Just a wild amount of inundation on LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah. Everywhere. Email. Sometimes I even get text messages. LinkedIn. And I think it's hard, right? I've been on the other side, really trying.
That's the question.
Yeah.
What's your PSA to agencies out there who hypothetically would love to work with a brand like Hanky Panky? Is there anything somebody can do when you're not in market that gets you to take? Are you going to take a general call with somebody? When you're not in the market for that particular thing, or no? The answer I get most is no. Truthfully, I don't have time anymore.
Yeah, no, that is really the biggest thing is time. But I would say, I went to the eTel West conference recently, and it's interesting because they have, a floor with all of the different SaaS vendors, and it was busy. I mean, there was a lot of people interested in wanting to know more about it because I think D2C specifically has some of the largest tech stacks.
Yeah.
And agencies. We work with a ton of agencies. We have quite a tech stack to support because you need it. I mean, it's digital now, right? So everything, all the different touch points for a customer is much larger than a B2B business. So I think two things, at least just speaking from a conference perspective, would be, I think I did take dinners that I went to. I wouldn't say during a day it's hard, a coffee in the middle of the day, a lunch, that's really, I think, hard. But if you're able to catch me at a morning breakfast, coffee, or a dinner and having other brand leaders at a dinner, so it's a value play in addition to, introducing me to your agency or to your product, I think that's the move. I think it's that relationship building that's really bad. I'm going to a dinner tonight, actually, in Atlanta. So, I'm willing to make time for that because I also want to understand what's in the market and how, different technologies are impacting it. And also, you never know. We just recently hired on an agency to support us. So, and I really wasn't even planning that last year. So here we are.
Sweet. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. How does Hanky Panky think of agency versus internal teams versus freelance resources? It sounds like a combination of all.
Yeah, I would say we have all of the support. I'd say, for us, agencies are very specific for their niche. So we have somebody focused on paid, we have somebody focused on SEO, we have somebody focused on social and influencer.
You find it works well having a number versus, fewer agencies? Do they play nice together in the sandbox? I find that the hope is always they do. I find it's very hard to have that occur.
Yeah, I have maybe mixed feelings about, I like the idea of having one agency that would be able to do all of it. Do I believe that exists? No, I really don't.
It's hard.
I really don't, because I think you even are up against, and this is maybe a hot take too on the agency side, but I think it's really hard to find an account manager, somebody that's leading the account that has a skill set across all digital. And to be a strong paid media strategist, even if they bring other people in,
Sure.
I think you will die as an agency if you have bad account managers.
I think it's the most important.
I think
if they're talking to the brand every day, they're the ones who piss them off the most. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's the most important. And I think that's where you need to invest really upfront and take care of those people, because I think they're the front lines, like you said, and they also need to have the skill to talk shop with the brand. And I think that is where I have let go of agencies because of that. If I don't have a strong, even actually on the account level on SaaS products too.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a hot take, truthfully. There are so many, I talk about it on LinkedIn all the time. Nobody believes me, I think. There's so many brands I chat with where they'll like tell me a bad experience with an agency and they'll say we're still working. It is entirely hinging on their relationship with one person they love. And like
Yes.
the agency presumably has no clue that like millions of dollars in revenue is literally hinging on this one person and them having this relationship. And I think agencies don't want to, they're like, no, the work's great. I'm like, yeah, like you eventually have to do good work or like you'll get fired, of course. But no, so many agency client relationships are literally, hinging on one person's happiness.
Oh yeah, and that's why I think if I were to give agency advice too, especially like figure out your top accounts and not only have your account manager, but have a middle bridge between an executive sponsor and the account manager. Have a middle bridge there too. Somebody that would be like our paid media agency, for instance. I'll give them a shout out, New Engine. They're great. And we have an account manager, but we have like a strategist in between. And then we have an executive sponsor that's on the leadership team. And so I have actually been in the room with all of them through the course of our relationship. And they've brought different like value inputs. I know I can reach out to them. And that middle bridge has been really nice too, because they've operated as like almost the strategic bridge if our account manager wasn't able to answer a question, having that as like an additional support.
Nice. What are you most excited about in the marketing space at the moment? Outside of AI, since you already mentioned it.
Yeah. Let's see. This is just like a very small thing but I've been working on it. So Amazon now has something called Buy with Prime. Are you familiar with it?
I think so.
So it's essentially
It's where you can
allowing.
use Amazon's payment for other sites, right? Because we trust Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's not just payment, it's actually even like product. So you'd actually show like Buy with Prime product on your site and it ships from Amazon.
Oh,
So you
gotcha,
both
gotcha.
get to use your Prime benefit, but then it's coming from Amazon, but it's all going through your Shopify, which is pretty cool.
I love it.
And then
Everybody should do. I had a very bad e-commerce experience recently.
yeah, well, and you can do like mixed cart, right? So say you have a product that's going to be from Amazon, you're going to get that 2 day shipping, and then maybe you have some other products that you didn't necessarily need like the urgency of getting it. Like one was a gift, and maybe the other products were just something that you'd like to have, and you
Sure.
didn't really want to pay for shipping, or maybe you did get free shipping. Who knows? That is also a benefit to it, is you can do kind of a, hey, you ship from your site and you actually ship from Amazon. It's all within the same experience. So we'll be rolling that out in the next couple of weeks. I'm feeling like hopeful about the opportunity and just giving our customers another way for ease of checkout and being able to use a benefit they already pay for through Amazon.
Does that help cart abandonment or should that increase sale? Like, what's the hope for that? Both?
Yeah, I mean, the hope for that is, conversion rate and abandoned cart. Yep, both of those increasing, and then being able to offer the mixed cart experience, a higher AOV.
Sweet.
I mean, all of this, like I said, is a test. Like they can, give you, I know Adidas now offers it, and a few other beauty brands do. Saks, who's a partner of ours, the boxer brand, they also offer Buy with Prime. So some other players in the space are doing it, and so we're excited. I'm excited to see.
We'll have to report back. What keeps you up at night from a marketing or business standpoint?
I mean, every day. I mean, for me, like every day I'm looking at our Shopify, because I've been on the B2B side and now being on the B2C side, it's just totally different, right?
Real time stuff.
Yeah, everything's real time, and so it's constantly like, what are the levers we need to pull, and how can we, modify things in real time, or something's popped off, and it's like, wow, this is amazing. Okay, we're sold out. Like we need to come up with a solution for a pre-order, or something like that. So I think that just level of always on, and it being a just sort of its own ecosystem, our site. So I think that's really important. How about you? What keeps you up at night?
in my own particular business, truthfully, it's like a first world problem. I continue to move up market to like bigger stuff and more visible brands, which is horrifying, truthfully. So much more high stakes, higher pressure, requiring bigger agencies and newer agencies and more specialized agencies, and getting to sit in the room a lot more lately for bigger pitches, which is cool, and I feel super fortunate, but terrifying. It's like I don't have children, but it's like watching my children compete in something, and just nerve-wracking. Gives me an excited stomachache, but a sick stomachache, and just being one person, it's the good stuff is from me, and the shit that goes awry is on me as well. So hopefully less stuff going awry. But it's just being a solopreneur is awesome and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah.
There's one question I'm curious with what you mentioned. Like, how do you think about it? And that'll be my final work question. There's 50 million channels. I mean, Twitter, TikTok, there's a new social engine or social network that pops up all the time, paid search, paid social, all of the things, and you have a finite budget, hypothetically. How do you think of depth, versus hyper specification and owning a particular channel? Or do you want to show up everywhere? Are you trying to show up everywhere? Or are you trying to just master where you are?
Yeah. It's a good question. I think how I'm thinking about it is, yes, not being everywhere. Like Twitter is 60% male. That's just, we know that channel is just not our audience right now.
Sure.
So it doesn't make sense for us to necessarily invest there. Pinterest is, yes, it is predominantly women, and we have a different approach on what Pinterest looks like and some investment there. But I think the choices we're making about opening the door to expanding content creation, both internally content creation and with influencers, that is going to impact a lot of things. That is going to impact our paid media strategy on Meta, just giving us more content, and opportunity to work with influencers on those channels, supporting our organic, because we've already seen that that's really successful for us. From an SEO standpoint, it is going to help us, because now if you even type a brand in Google, you're going to start seeing, Reels and TikToks showing up. So those channels are helping us from an SEO standpoint, and from an influencer perspective, they're, talking about us and using content there that's going to be supporting it. And then, TikTok is we already have seen people talking about our brand organically on TikTok. And we also have another partner that has worked with us and seen great success with it. So there has been some data that's come in to say TikTok really makes sense for this next channel. And from an influencer perspective, our audience is also there. So, and then I think the last piece of it is we announced it in February, so I'm not sure if you're a Summer House fan on Bravo. You watch it?
My girlfriend makes me watch it sometimes. Craig and Craig Conover. Yeah, Paige DeSorbo's her girl, her favorite person. So.
Okay, so Lexi Wood has been the newest cast member, and we have a partnership with her. She's nice. Creating a line with us that's going to be launching in fall.
That's awesome.
So she's talked about it a little bit on on the show, and that's going to be really big. So that's also been in the TikTok kind of universe, we've organically been showing just through that, and so that's part of the search engine, right? Yeah. Is if you already are showing up, then it's going to support efforts like TikTok Shop and some of the other marketing initiatives we want to do there. So,
love it.
So that was a long-winded answer to say we are being very strategic with the channels that we're opening and testing, because yes, I've got to be selective with budgets. But I do think this year will give us a lot of interesting insights.
Sweet. We'll finish with some fun ones. What was your very first job?
Very first job. Well, official, first job in the industry. I'll start there because
I like the other ones. I like hearing
people. The other ones?
Yeah. Were you a server, a lifeguard? I don't know. I'm trying to think about what other people were.
I was actually a referee.
For what?
So I did referee for actually little kids soccer.
Okay, same.
5-year-olds, very small, it was you had to just blow the whistle because they kept grabbing with their hands, all the way to actually reffing lacrosse for middle school and high school, because I played in high school. So I would never want to do that again, especially for, well, actually even 5-year-olds. The parents are the worst. So competitive. I'm like, no thanks.
I coached 6th grade basketball years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, and I would never do it again because of the parents. It's insane. So.
It's insane. I'm like, no. So that was, that was my first job.
Okay. What would your final meal be?
My final meal, chicken piccata.
Okay. No, from a particular place, or?
I don't know. My mom makes the best.
Okay, homemade chicken piccata it is.
Yes, it's like, it's always been one of those meals. What about you?
A ribeye, medium rare, probably some sushi on the side of that.
Yeah.
And like a really crispy, perfectly fried French fry.
Wow.
Call it a
You
steak
really thought
food.
about this.
I have. Well, I do. I ask this question to everybody. Always interested.
Yeah.
My final question: who's somebody who inspires you personally, professionally, or both?
Ooh. Let's see. I really have and this is kind of shout out to my friends, but also I've met them through work actually here in Atlanta. 3 of them specifically, and they are all different. So Katie Ivy, who's the CRO of Walnut, she and I worked together many years ago, and we are very close. She constantly impresses me. She's like a go-getter. She is fearless. Has been just a great connector in many ways, and has given me a lot of tips on the sales side. We are in different industries, but from a sales perspective, she's just like a boss. So she's really impacted me. Kara Brown, who owns an agency here in Atlanta, but constantly, if I text her at any time, any day, any hour, I swear she answers me, and is always, from, questions about work to anything personal. She's just like there, smart, will have one of the most successful agencies here in Atlanta, guaranteed. And then my last in my, women in Atlanta, girlfriends, but also rock stars, is Gina Kowalik. So she actually we work together as well. She's a marketing leader, and she is in a really interesting transition, kind of being an entrepreneur now herself. So I think what do they say? Like, those that you surround yourself with, you become,
You're the product of the people you spend the most time with.
Yeah, product of the people you spend the most time. So, they're all mothers. They've all taught me a lot of things about motherhood, being working moms, and having that, and having people in your corner to talk about things, to level set. I mean, it's the most important, I think. And you need to have that. And if you don't, that's a huge piece of advice. I think it's helped me with my career and helped me grow, have the difficult conversations, advocate for myself, all the things.
Love it. For those listening who may be in market, what do you want people to do? Check out the site. Anything new coming out? What's the best? All the above?
All the above. Yes, so definitely check out the site. I know I've been talking a lot about
HankyPanky.com, correct?
HankyPanky.com, yes. I've been talking a lot about our leak-proof panties. I think they are incredible. If you're looking sort of an entry point, never tried our brand, definitely try our original rise thong. It is our iconic thong. But more to come as we have new swim coming out. If you're looking to do some traveling, and then fall holiday, already planning for those. So it will be a fun year.
If you see this, if you see a sales boost after this episode, maybe I'm your next affiliate deal, or influencer partnership.
Let's make it happen.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you for joining so much. And yeah, we really appreciate the insight and you taking the time out of your day.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you for checking out this episode of You Should Talk To. This show is brought to you by the company with the same name, You Should Talk To, a company that helps marketing leaders find the right agency or freelancer for their situation. If you enjoyed what you learned in this episode, make sure to follow You Should Talk To wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or visit YouShouldTalkTo.com for more information.